Here are 40 online reviews of the audiobook titled, Greenlights. Written and narrated by Matthew McConaughey. 1. So much foul language in the first 1 minute. I was so excited to read this. I was crushed and shocked at how much foul language is in the beginning. I had to turn it off. Really bummed. 2. What? Shockingly, ridiculously, idiotic, self-importance. So much more douchey than I could have ever imagined. Pretty angry I paid for this. I really thought he might not be the guy we all saw in those Lincoln commercials. Anyway, he tried and that's all that counts. 3. Love this. I am not necessarily fanatical about this actor, but I can say now with conviction I am fanatical about this author. I found Matthew so honest, witty, intelligent, articulate, compassionate, brave, loyal, etc. His impersonation skills are spot on. I listened to all 6+ hours in one day, from my not feeling well bed, so entertaining. In my opinion, Matthew McConaughey is an incredible role model for a human being. Thank you, Matthew. 4. Too much profanity. I think I would have liked the book if there were not so many F-bombs. 5. Just okay. I do not follow famous people or keep up with their personal lives. I chose to listen to this memoir because of all the positive reviews and I enjoy memoirs. I enjoy memoirs because I usually learn something and get to connect with the characters and watch them grow. You feel part of their story and a part of their spirit lives in you for a time. I didn't get that from this audiobook. I didn't laugh, cry, or feel connected with the author. If you're a fan of Matthew McConaughey, you'll probably enjoy this audiobook, otherwise I would find something else. 6. Alright, I love this book. Is a talented actor, a dedicated family man and a heck of a good writer and narrator. I had no problem listening to that sexy voice of his for hours. He's just so darn likable and sincere. I felt like we were hanging out, sans bongos, and Matthew was personally telling me these great stories of his life, work and family. Matthew shared very private memories he recorded in journals he began as a young kid with sincerity and honesty. He is an unbelievably talented writer. I've seen all of his movies and have been a big fan for years. I always wondered what he was really like. Now I feel like I almost know him. His storytelling is that intimate. This is an enjoyable and surprisingly open and honest book. The fact that narrated it himself really brought his stories to life and was the icing on the cake. This is a fantastic breakout book. True fans of Matthew are going to love this. I love this. Well worth the credit and your time. I hope this is helpful. 7. He's a better actor than author. This book is about his relationship with himself. It does not draw you in. It's an uninteresting monologue. Does he have ASD? He's definitely a better actor than author. Don't waste your time with this book. I recommend Bios from Trevor Noah and Burt Bacharach. Those books are awesome. 8. Not my cup of tea. It would have been a much better book if Mr. McConaughey could use more creative language than using the F word a million times. So low class, I expected much better. I had looked forward to listening, but couldn't get through it. I had to return it. 9. Love this man. This book will be finished by lunchtime. Matthew is one of the most talented people in Hollywood. It's one of those moments when you knew you loved the man, but now you love him even more. Thank you for sharing your stories. 10. Can't wait for it to be over. I have respect for Matthew's overcoming his youth. Beyond that, the rest of the biography is very indulgent. Matthew portends to self-reflective, but, surprisingly, he doesn't lend much voice to how much was extended to him because of his looks. His note to Saf's get a bit tiresome and leave the listener wondering if all of his outlaw philosophizing is just a device he uses to excuse himself from being more grateful to his physical appearance. I almost wrote that he seems like a nice guy, but I am hard-pressed to identify kindness in this material that isn't self-serving. I can remember clearly his mantra, "It's not if you do the crime, it's if you get caught that matters." What a lovely life value. 11. Horribly arrogant. I have no idea why there are so many 5-star reviews of this book. It is completely overacted by McConaughey. Almost too painful to endure, I found myself rolling my eyes countless times while listening. His stories lack credibility and seem very obviously over-embellished if not complete bullsh*t. And what's with the bumper stickers/motivational quotes? What credentials does McConaughey have to offer life advice? The worst part is the self-absorbed arrogance he displays in his writing. McConaughey obviously thinks very highly of himself. I listened to the end hoping that in the end he may have learned a lesson and would change his grandiose opinion of himself, but, nope. I also think this book should be categorized as a work of fiction and not a memoir. I ultimately opted to exchange the audiobook, something I never do, for a book that didn't make my skin crawl. 12. Enthralling. Couldn't stop listening. It's good that he's got a melodic voice. This is a book I will listen to more than once. I just started a journal to see what my future self will be reminded of. Favorite part was hearing the story of how he got the role in A Time to Kill. 13. Don't waste your time. If he said no to self one more time I thought I'd scream. Sounded like he was full of himself throughout the book. I really like him in movies, but that's as far as it goes. Lots of foul language. 14. Really disappointed. I struggle to come up with the right words. I love McConaughey as an actor and had high hopes for this book. I did enjoy hearing some of his adventures, but overall he came across very arrogant. The performance was irritating. Talking so low you have to really turn it up to hear what is being said, then all of a sudden he is yelling and coffee is going all over my lap. Scared the bejesus out of me. This went on throughout the book. Overacting and trying to come up as some old wise sage. Sorry Matthew, you're not there yet. 15. Fanfreaking-tastic. Well told and solid gold. Stories that will make you giggle and ponder and rewind while saying, "Hold up, did he just say?" So chock full of wisdom and good bumper sticker sayings that I think I might like to buy the book to have it written down somewhere to better reference. 16. Yawn. Just a white trash boy. Boring. And his people shouldn't have allowed him to do this. We all have heard the drunk parents' stories and the big bad daddy, but he was a great guy, but he never thought I was his. Yawn. 17. I don't get it, why so many high ratings? There is nothing here. The way it is written, he brags about being brought up to shoplift and that was okay as long as he did not get caught. If you really like the guy, and I thought I did, you may be interested in his upbringing, but I wouldn't be bragging about it as it is not an example to set. No issues with different types of family values, I just don't think publishing them is the best idea for any role model. 18. Smooth. Matthew McConaughey is a fabulous storyteller. I could listen to his voice and his stories for days on end. He is a very talented, witty, and intelligent man. I love his positive outlook and I enjoyed learning about his life. 19. Egomaniac. He just comes across as an egomaniac. Go buy the book by Arnold Schwarzenegger _ Total Recall. 100 times better. 20. Hated the tone. I have always admired Matthew McConaughey. But I couldn't listen to this book for very long. I tried to like the book but really struggled. His beliefs are often good but his rhetoric is toxic. He needs to evolve beyond this. I hated this book and returned it. I almost always finish Audible books and rarely return them. I couldn't finish this one and asked for a refund. 21. Alright. The book was everything better than alright. It was great, and great look into his life. He was completely honest through the whole book. 22. Not believable. This book again supports my thoughts on authors narrating their own books. The story content is so unbelievable I felt like you couldn't believe anything he said. Ridiculous. He should stick to acting. 23. Follow your wet dreams. I am a huge fan. I thought I would enjoy listening to him share a few of his inner thoughts. But about 2.5 hours in and details of his second wet dream which revealed to him where he should travel next, I was done. These are details I didn't need in my life. I would give it more stars for performance, but honestly, it's like a long Lincoln commercial. Sorry Matthew, it just didn't jive with me. 24. I couldn't stop listening. First of all, his voice is dreamy. Second of all, this book was entertaining AF. He is very inspirational, even though he clearly tells you that this is not meant to be an inspirational book. A real person, with real life experiences. 25. Sad. I thought here was a good title to listen to. But he is like most, feels like they have to throw cuss words in the be cool. Too bad, thought more of him. Stopped after first couple of minutes. 26. This is not worth the data it takes up. The author is so full of himself he's the 600 pounds lady. At a buffet of life sewage. Which he pukes up in this tome of garbage. What a complete waste of time and manpower. I can't even begin to tell you how bad this book is. This will be my first negative review of a book. And I have listened to some crap sandwiches, over 600 books on my Audible account and hundreds more on the shelf. At least there was some positive points in those terrible books. I'm actually disgusted with society. This guy is successful. 27. Dreamin. Listening to Matthew McConaughey's dreamy voice as I drift off to sleep. Suddenly I'm laying down on a tailgate and I look up and I can see all the stars in the night sky. It's July 1989 and I hear that familiar voice, so soothing. I drift deeper. I smell the smell I haven't smelled in so long. It's some 90s skunk. Old Matty boy is smoking a joint the size of cigar. He says, "You cool, man?" I told him hell yeah. We started chiefing. He didn't know as a time traveler, I came prepared. I pull out a couple chemdog pre-rolls and we got totally blazed. 10/10. 28. So incredibly arrogant. I was a fan of his acting before listening to this book, but I have a much lower impression of him now. He is his own biggest fan and listening to his arrogant voice, telling stories that sounded very exaggerated, was just too much. I listened to many biographies so was looking forward to this, but it's the only audiobook that I have returned. I am no longer a fan. 29. Nope. Hollywood scumbag. This book beguiles you at first. Tempts you. Sucks you in. Just like Hollywood predators, they sing you a song while you dance to their tune. I don't want to even see his face again. Hopefully I can delete this from my library entirely. 30. Such a complex story told by an incredible storyteller. Downloading this audiobook was my green light. Going through some difficulties of my own, I felt this story is exactly what I needed in order to obtain clarity. It gave me the will to do more in my life. 31. An autobiography with style. This sassy style-filled autobiography keeps the listener engaged and entertained. Read by Matthew McConaughey himself, this autobiography will not disappoint. 32. You need this. Best book I ever read and listened to in a very long time. My soul needed it. 33. Great book. I love to hear the storytelling in biographies when done by the person the biography is about. You can get a feeling of their sense, happy, sad, pain, and or pleasure. Once again, great book. 34. Best ever. This is my first audiobook and I absolutely loved it. It felt like he was just having a conversation with me. His reaction sometimes at what he was saying, the giggles and laughing. I was so sad when it ended. I have been telling my employees how much I have been loving it when I go to work. Now they can hear how I feel that it's over. Would recommend this book to anyone I know. Absolutely amazing. 35. Loved his side posts bumper stickers. Really enjoyed the book and even more with Matthew's voice and giggles and personal touch. Enjoyed the prescription, bumper sticker inserts. Feel like I know him so much better and never knew so much interesting information about one of my favorite actors. 36. Does not disappoint, pure perfection. This was simply delightful. Love that the actor chose to read the book himself, as he laughs during, chuckles at some fond memories, and once or twice added a few bonus exclamations in delight of the moment. His storytelling is infectious in all the right ways to remind that there is positive in 2020. Treat yourself to this book and enjoy the ride. 37. Unfiltered being, real. You will laugh from beginning to end. Rewind and ponder many philosophical truths spoken with poetical charisma and truth. You will cry when you reach the story about the bird. Feel warmth and connection throughout the journey he shares. What a wonderful light fun audiobook. Narrated by the actor himself. Only books I've listened to more than once was Marcus Aurelius, Meditation, and Neville Goddard. Now Greenlight. 38. Captivating. The moment one believes that Matt's life couldn't get more interesting, wrong. I love the early presentation to entice the reader. There is never a dull moment. Additionally, Matt narrates the entire story so it is so believable. Finally, I love his format. He summarizes each chapter and explains Greenlights. 39. Well done, Mr. McConaughey. I was very impressed by his knowledge and insight from the first sentence. Before this insightful listen of a great man reading, I was not into Matthew because I thought he started to be arrogant. I am speechless after this amazing story. I understand now who, what, why and how he has become such a great man. I laughed and cried through this book. I listened to a Howard Stern interview with Matthew. Howard was so wrong about his opinion about Matthew's childhood. I get it. Mr. McConaughey, you are the man. 40. So enjoyable. I couldn't imagine listening to anyone else tell Matthew's story. He's a great storyteller and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you for watching. Please, do not forget to subscribe, like and share this video. Tune in for more online audiobooks reviews.